Hey, welcome back to Strength Side Fridays, where we put out a training video every Friday. Today we're talking about deadlifts. So it's pretty widespread knowledge that you should deadlift. Okay, it's becoming a lot more mainstream. There's fewer and fewer people saying that you should not deadlift. Okay? However, when you ask a lot of people why, they can't really give you a great reason why. The most common reason they'll give is, you need to pick up something from the floor at some point. And that's correct, and I agree with that point. However, we need to understand more of the mechanisms behind that. So this video will kind of help you if you are a trainer, or if you are trying to convince friends or family to deadlift. These are some points you can give them as to why. Because I do believe that everyone should deadlift in some capacity. Okay? So, let's go to that first point. You need to learn how to pick something up off the floor. Yes. Everyone has heard of that guy, or has been that guy, who has herniated a disc picking up a pencil from the floor. Okay? So, deadlifting can help with that. But we need to decide, and we need to look at why that is, okay? So, point number 2. The deadlift is a hip hinge pattern. The hip hinge pattern is a pattern in which your hips move and your spine doesn't. Okay? So that's very important because when we have clients come to the gym for the first time and you ask them to pick something up off the floor, a majority of them are going to do something like this. Right? That's not a hip hinge. So, teaching someone to hip hinge can just keep them out of that flexed position when they're picking things up, which already is going to keep their back safer. We need to also reinforce the hip hinge pattern and create resiliency in that pattern because there's a lot of research that shows the majority of spine injuries actually come from movements that were in a neutral spine. Okay? So just knowing how to hip hinge may not keep your back safe. You need to also drill it constantly to reinforce it and also make your nervous system comfortable with loading in this fashion. Okay? So that's what's going to keep your back safe. Okay? So point number 3. You need to develop the posterior chain muscles. So we're talking the lats, the erectors of the spine, the glutes, the hamstrings, the calves. They're all being loaded to a very high degree in the deadlift. So, it can help them get bigger, it can help them get stronger, it can help them become more efficient. I don't think anyone nowadays is going to say no to a nice big butt, right? So definitely deadlifts are great for just developing overall posterior chain. And I think one of the biggest points, and this is the fourth and last point I want to make, is if you've ever tried to teach a deadlift to someone, it may be the most difficult of the basic movements to teach. And that's because there's a lot of body awareness that comes in when you're teaching the deadlift. People can't, they don't know the difference between hinging at the hips and bending at the spine. They have no way to discern between those two. And then it complicates it even more when you start adding knee flexion in. So if you teach them how to hip hinge, it's going to take their body awareness to a whole nother level. They're going to be much more aware of where their hips are in space. This is something we talk about all the time. This is a great opportunity to talk about anterior and posterior tilt. This is a great time to talk about kyphosis or hyperextension of the lumbar spine. All these things teaching the deadlift is a great platform to actually start thinking about those very more complicated body awareness issues. This is the beginning. Okay? So, hopefully you guys got something out of the video. Hopefully, if you're talking about deadlifts, you can actually bring a little more to the table. Tell us what you think. We'll see you in the next one.